94 Feet with Coach JT. Man, do me a favor if y'all haven't already. Like, subscribe to the podcast, man. We're on all platforms, man. Trying to get this thing popping spring 2023. Again, if you guys have already been following me, tapping in, I appreciate you. A lot of love, respect for you guys. But it's time for me to jump back in it, man. Unfortunately, but my season is over. But also, friends and associates, they still rocking. So I mean, I'm blessed to get this coach on the air real quick. I know he got tight schedule, getting ready for a big game coming up. But also I'm introduced to some others, man, that you may not know, the head coach of Marysville High School, also better known as the Division 4 section champion,
Yes, sir.
league champion, but a good dude I've known, man. I don't even count. It's been years since we met, man.
Yeah.
Just in
At
some
the
basketball,
lab.
in the lab, in the gym with
Yep.
some other ballers. And young in our career, starting off in this coaching game, man, and training
Yes,
and still
sir.
playing a little bit. Coach Stan, how you doing, man? Thanks for being on the show too, man. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm doing great, man. Just kind of loving this time of year, man.
Yeah,
Playoff time. We just won our first section championship in
yeah,
30 years at the high school.
yeah,
So we did that on Friday. So
yeah.
shout out to my team, man. I got a great group of kids. And
That's
now
good.
we're getting ready for the state playoffs tomorrow night. So
Yeah, man. So you said, I mean, it's the most present thing right now or clear thing. You said 30 years.
yes.
Just initially, what was that again? That ball goes up, man. Just because it's the most recent thing that happened. That ball goes up Friday night, I believe. I watched it on the app. Uh,
Mhm.
what was going through your mind, or how was that feeling with your body at that point in time?
Finally, that's what it was for me, man. It was finally, it's happened because I've been at Marysville. This is my 11th year
Oh, okay.
coaching. And when I first got there, man, everybody was like, don't take this job.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to win here. You can't win here. They hadn't had a winning season in 10 years. They hadn't been to the playoffs in, I want to say, 13 years. And they hadn't won a league title in 18 years. So they was like,
Mm.
what are you doing? What are you doing? But for me, with the way I'm built, where I'm from in Los Angeles, man, you tell me I can't do something. All that's going to do is push me towards trying to do it
That's
even
what's up.
harder than I was before. So when that ball finally, and that buzzer went off, man, it was just like, we finally got here because
Yeah,
everybody told me we couldn't do it.
yeah, man.
Everybody did.
That definitely, man. Again, knowing you for all those years, man. Happy for you, but also I'm aware of the grind you've been putting in, but also aware
Yeah.
of the work that people don't know is unseen that we put in. One is already, as you know, they say, being a coach, but no, being young black coaches too, man. Like we
Yes.
got other odds we got to defy. We got to work a little harder, move differently, and tread in different light, right? And you talk about, and I'm
Yes.
glad you brought that up. Right, where you from, Los Angeles, man. I mean, for those who may not know, may know you, even me, just getting more in depth this conversation real quick. Tell me a little about where you from, man. Where you grew up.
Well, I grew up in LA, man. I went to LA high school. I moved out here when I was 19 years old to go to school and hoop at Yuba College. And I was here about maybe 3 weeks, a month, and got my girlfriend pregnant at the time. So I ended up having my son. So I ended up staying. So that kind of stopped hoop dreams, the hoop dreams I had because it was
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, I got to work. I got a son to take care of,
Yep.
but it was just such a culture shock moving out here from Los Angeles, man. The cities are just so different, and
Fact.
it's not like I moved to Sac. Like I moved out here to the Yuba City,
A
Marysville
little
area.
different, a little further out.
Yes, a little different. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, a little different, man. So I just kind of settled in, but I never thought I would be a coach. Once my son got old enough, it was like, all right, let me start helping him,
Yeah.
coaching, whether it was baseball, football. And then, once he started to love hoop, I was like, okay, cool. So I would coach him in hoop
Yeah.
and all of that. And then it was high school time. So he goes to high school. He went to River Valley High School, and then he went to Yuba City High School. So his senior year, I got the job at Marysville High School. And it was his senior year. And I said, look, I'm not going to be able to see a lot of your games as a senior because I'm going to take this job at Marysville. Do you want to come over? And he was like, Dad, I would love to come play for you, but I want to graduate with my friends. And I understood it. You know what I'm
Nice.
saying? And he's like, thank you, Dad. So I wasn't able to catch a lot of his games my senior year. So that's the one thing about the job that I kind of had some reservations about,
Yeah.
but I love coaching, man. And my son knew that and he understood it. And I just love being an inspiration to these kids, especially kids who look like me. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? It's like, hey, you can come from anywhere and make it. You know what I'm saying? Even though, like you said, we have different obstacles that we're going to have to overcome, but we can either pout about it or we can run through those obstacles. And for me, I just try to let these kids know, like, look, you can do whatever you want to do. You just got to keep working. You can't quit. That's only difference between winners and losers is people who win. They just keep going. You know what I'm saying? They fell down. You know, they just kept going. So
that's what's up, man. That's definitely humbling. Though, even you raised a good young man, knowing that he understand, but also can articulate to pops, like, you know what I mean? I do want this. However, also, you know, relationships is big for kids now growing up. Even us, you know, we value, especially, but we're still in that generation where we value friendships a lot, for sure, right, man? So that's just, you know, so to see him kind of articulate that, but also know, man, I really want to rock with my dad, but my boys, and I get it, right? We got our boys, we got our homies, like, you know, these my dogs, you know what I mean? So it means something to them, which I like to see, because that's value to me in that, right? For them, there's value in that. But through sports, as we know, right, that's a whole other ball game of valued friendships. Like, nah, we grinded together, right? We sacrificed some things, right? Man, so coming up here, getting settled in, but even just being a dad, real quick though, how was that transition for you, man? I mean, because that's real life stuff people go through, people do. But I mean, how not say smooth, but what type of because I mean, life changing when everybody, you know, it's life changing, right? But then also, what was the first thing? I would say, let me ask you, what was the first thing you said you had to get better at? You wanted to get better at once you had your son?
Once I had a kid, I just had to be a better man. I knew that immediately. I just have to be a better man, because it's not about me anymore. Nice. You know, it's about, everything he's going to become is going to be how I raised him. Nice. And I truly believe that. So I was like, I can't be the reason that my son doesn't succeed in life. I can't be. So I have to be better. And then, you know, you have your own trauma from when you're young. You know, my dad wasn't really in my life when I was young. You know, so for me, it was like, I just want to be a better dad than my dad was to me. Like, that was one of the biggest things, man. And I was able to do that. But because of that, it cost me a lot of relationships I was in, because, you know, I remember, you know, girlfriends or people I was talking to would say, Stan, I think you're a great guy, but I'm like number 4 on your list. It's like your son, and then it's you, and then it's me. And, you know, and I understood it, but I was okay with it, because I was like, hey, you know, if I got to sacrifice this next 18 years to make sure my son is going to be an upstanding young man and know the difference between right and wrong, know how to fight through adversity, then that relationship, me losing that relationship is worth it, because what he becomes is because of me. So it was just being better, man, just trying to be a better man for him.
That's what's up, man. Definitely dope, man. And I know as coaches though too, man, we're fathers, mentors to everybody else's kids too. Yeah. Everybody else's kids every year in, all year round, through all this adversity, you know, they invest in us, they tell us stuff they don't tell their parents, you know, stuff like that. You know what I mean? We gotta deal with that aspect too. What point, I mean, when you took the Marysville job initially, people, you know, the doubters, or just the resentment, I mean, the kind of hesitation from others trying to get you to, you know, because they're probably gonna look out for, they know, like, okay, it's a tough situation. But what was your deciding factor on saying, I'm going to do this, or, you know, this is the opportunity for me, I need to jump on this now?
Well, I had started a youth basketball program called Hoop Skills and Life Academy. And, you know, when I started it, it was, you know, mentorships, tutoring. We would do skills training and AAU stuff. And when I started it, everybody in the area was kind of on board to help me, giving me gym time and all of this stuff. Nice. But then it started to work. So once they started to see it work, they was like, oh, we got to get him out of here and bring our own people in. So when they did that, I didn't have any more gym time. So I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So luckily, during one of our sessions, we had one of the supervisors at the county. He came over and watched one of our sessions. And he told me, he's like, Stan, here's my number. If you ever need anything, let me know. So I hit him, and I was like, hey, how's everything going? Yeah, relationships, building relationships, man. So I hit him, and I was like, hey, you know, this is what's going on. And he was like, you know what? I have a friend that I went to high school with. He's the principal at Marysville High School.
Crazy.
They're looking for a head coach. You know, do you want to interview for it? And like, honestly, bro, I was like, nah, I'm good. I just want to run my youth stuff. I didn't want to coach high school. I went home, and my girlfriend at the time, she said, are you stupid? She was like, what's the one thing you need right now?
A gym?
I said, gym time. She said, if you're the high school coach, you're going to have gym time. What are you doing? Nice. So I hit him back. I said, yeah, let's interview. I interviewed, and it was kind of God's work, man, to be honest with you, because with me not having a big resume with coaching, you usually don't come in as a varsity head coach if you haven't been a varsity head coach before. Doesn't usually happen like that. But they had been running through coaches there because they haven't had success. So they needed a coach. I kind of needed a job. So we needed each other in that moment. And they gave me the job. And then I was like, oh shit, now I gotta work.
Yeah.
You know, and that first year we were 5-22, man. 5-22, and we lost our last 15 games. And every day, because I hate losing. And I was just like, I don't know how to do this. Like, how do I get better? How do I get these guys to be better? Because at the time, they hadn't had success, so they had like a losing mentality. Man, we'd be down 15-10 in the first quarter, and they already done. Oh, we lost. Game's over. So it was trying to change that culture, you know. And then luckily, I had some good people around me who was like, "Stan, it takes time to change your culture. That's not going to happen in a year. You got to change it." So I was able to finally make it through that first year, man. And then that second year was able to turn stuff around. I think that second year we went 19-9, and we kind of turned stuff. Yeah, we kind of turned stuff around, man. Started like a summer and a spring program. Like, look, this is year round. If we want to be good, this has to be a year round thing.
Right.
You know, and those same people who, when I first got the job, was telling me, Stan, you shouldn't take it. You shouldn't take it. Once I start winning, these were the same people who start, and I know this is just, a word that a lot of people use, but they just started hating so bad, man. It was different coaches from this area that would send stuff in the CIF, say, what are they doing over there? How are they winning? They must be cheating, man. I've been going through this 11 years, man. Coaches following my kids around, taking pictures, saying, oh, they should be ineligible because they should. It was just a mess with some of these coaches, man.
Right.
But it was just like, all right, y'all keep it up. We just gonna keep winning. Yeah, and that's how we killing them, man. We're just killing them with success.
I definitely applaud that, man, and they can understand from the adversity side of that, man. People really don't, because I can tell you we don't blast out the negatives. You celebrate the pot, you know what I mean? But it's a lot of stuff that's going on to where we've had to deal with and still maintain our composure, maintain our self-respect, and not get out of character. When some people have tested our character and my character, be like, man, are you serious? You know what I mean? But that, low blows, you know what I mean? And it's called it real, right? We have to do things differently and move differently, but when our goal is still the same as every other coach that wants to be successful. We want to win. But I mean, I know mine and people around like Dave Akram, the guys in the lab, like we're making all our athletes go into better men though too. Like we know we got to make these boys into better men, bro. And at the end of the day, that ball, as you said, that ball gonna stop bouncing via having a job, career, a baby, a child. But how successful can you be? And like I said, I see some of your coaches that I know, a couple guys still hoop, but I'm like, that's what it's about, because they giving back, but they helping bring young men up in a world where it's 10 times worse than we was coming up. You know what I mean? More distractions.
You want to teach life lessons, man. Life lessons through basketball, because let's be honest, 95% of the players that we coach in high school, they're not going to make it to the league. They're not going to get paid to play basketball. So I want to make sure I'm leaving them with some jewels that's going to help them in life, in regular life. And the biggest joy I get, as good as I felt when we won that section championship on Friday, I get a bigger joy out of kids that used to play for me that showed up to that game. They all came and they're watching, and I was like, that's what it's about. And they're telling me what they're doing in their life, whether they're in college, whether they have families. Like, I've been to a couple of my kids that I coach weddings, and everything. And you just see them doing well. And it's like, that's what it's about.
Impact, baby. And you make an impact, dog, no matter the location either. People think Marysville, like, what the heck? Like, hey, it's people in Marysville too, right? So they can be touched. Their lives can be touched. That school, those boys can be touched. And then getting to see you the last 2 summers in the summer league, man, I'm like, oh yeah, they rock it. Like but the style of play, but also the competitive nature is there. But I mean, going to the lab, playing against you, seeing it, and just watching it grow, like that's the thing. I want us as coaches, where no matter what, but especially us Black coaches, no matter what though too, is push each other up for those things too, man. Because like we need to, as much as the hate gonna come, the positivity, the encouragement helps us make it through our days, bro. Like, because it gets hard. And we're in a stage now where mental health, I get is big, but it's just the pressures of it. It's heavy. So again, seeing you win, bro, I'm winning. I don't care. I mean, I know I want to get there too. I want to be, no matter where I'm at, I want to win. But if you're winning, I'm seeing it. I feel like I'm winning too, bro, because I've seen you grow, but I've seen those boys happy. I've seen you celebrate, but also kind of not know how to celebrate. I'm like, that's a dope feeling. Like, what do I do? The kids going crazy. It's like, I want, but that's a dope feeling, man.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this grind real quick, man. Just I know you talk about growing up in LA, but where did that work ethic in LA or growing from? Was that mom's early age, bro? Or that's something you saw people around
Yeah.
you? Where'd that grind consistency come from?
It's just, man, when you're young and you don't know where your next meal's coming from, you don't know if you're sleeping outside. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love my mom to death, and my mom is in such a great place today.
Dope.
But growing up, my mom, dealt with some personal issues,
Mm-hmm.
with drugs, and that had a big effect on my life. So there were some nights, man, to where I didn't know what we was eating. I didn't know if I was sleeping in the house, if she was gonna recognize me. Like, I've had my mom not recognize me because of some of the things she was doing, and it was like, I gotta grind. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
have to take care of me. So my work ethic has always been crazy because I know I didn't have nobody to run to. I didn't like it. It was on me, whether I was going to eat, whether I was going to survive. It was on me. And then eventually, my mom's got everything together and all that. But that work ethic just comes from that. And within those times that my mom was, doing her thing, she also was a really good mom. When she got clean, she instilled in me saying, "Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir." Like manners and, hey, work hard. Anything you want is going to take hard work. Like, she taught me that. She taught me, hey, if you outside and you get into a fight, you better not come back in here if you didn't win that fight. You ain't running from no fight. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's always been a toughness, with the way I grew up. So there's nothing that basketball or anybody associated with basketball that can do to me that's gonna make me
You've
fold.
been through it.
Like,
You've been through it,
yeah,
man.
I've
The
been through
pressures,
it.
right?
I've been through it, man. So, I embrace, all that pressure. But,
That's what's up.
I wouldn't trade my childhood for the world, man, because I see a lot of kids today who get everything given to them and they don't know how to work through anything. Any type of adversity comes up, they fold. So I
You
wouldn't
can
trade,
relate.
my
Yeah.
childhood for the world, man.
But it made you us who we are today. But and the thing is, I
Yes.
think we're always working on how to make these students or athletes these days see that and value it at a, because if they don't see it, like, all right, you're different, you're older,
Yeah.
but it shapes them. They won't see it now, but the ones who do get a hold of it, they can know and they value that and they hold on to that, man. So definitely, shout out to Mom Street as well. You was also man, prep time, man, preparation. I mean, let's see, and let's not even go on your playing days. Let's go coaching questions. Game, let's say playoff run right now, right? Recently, how much time, bro, do you spend prepping yourself? So for a single opponent, right? What's that like for you?
It's hours, man. It's a lot of film study. It's it's going on, watching as many games of that team as I can to see what they do with different looks. What do they do, after they score? What's their inbound? Underneath out of bounds? What's their sideline out of bounds? What do they do if somebody, threw a 1-3-1 at them? Like, I'm just looking at everything. I'm trying to get any little thing that I can to give us an advantage. Oh, okay, every time he goes left, he's going to pull up. Hey, number 10 doesn't like, so I'm watching a lot of film, man. And that's probably the biggest thing, is just a lot of film, and then bringing that back to the kids in practices and other coaches and being like, hey, okay, this is what we got to do. And it doesn't always work, but the majority of the time it does. I just want to be prepared. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember early in my coaching career, we lost the game because I didn't have the guys prepared for something. A team went to I think they triangled and tuned us or something, and I didn't have anything for it at the time.
Right.
Because I thought
you
I
don't
was
see that
prepared,
often,
but I wasn't. Yeah, you don't see it often, so I wasn't prepared for it. So I want to say that was my first year coaching, and I was like, I will never be the reason we lose a game because I'm not prepared again. So I over prepare, man. How about you?
Yeah, I definitely would say me, man, it's hours too, more so having experience in junior college too. Man, for almost 5 years of that, and both, it's like sometimes I want to make sure I'm not overdoing with the way I relate to the kids too now, right? Because my playing career time in high school, college, I could, play multiple positions. We got a playbook thick, right? Nowadays, I'm like, it's like class for the kids, but I'm like, okay, how long is their attention span? How long do I have them? I want to make sure it's clear, but especially on the defensive end for sure, though. Oh, I'm all in it. Matchups. I'm trying to take away the best. I mean, the best two players and make the worst players shoot all the buckets. So I'm definitely in that hours of that. But also, I was going to ask you too, who do you look, or who have you looked up to or at, as far as, like, I watch a lot of Brad Stevens, as far as the baseline plays and the half court plays. Defensively, always been Popovich, how he's certain maybe funnel at guys, and then on the ball stuff is pretty much just skill set. Gary Payton, Sam Cassell about what they kind of feel about that. But who do you kind of watch or kind of look for, even if it's local guys, whatever, who you kind of were around? Who are some people that you may kind of that come to your mind and say, okay, I kind of pick from them all different people?
Brad Stevens was definitely one that I really studied because his playbook is crazy. His out of timeout, like his crazy.
Yep.
Yes. Ty Lue is another one.
Yeah.
I'm a big Ty Lue fan, and what Ty Lue gets out of guys that, like, I mean, with the Clippers, and even when he was with Cleveland, like when LeBron wasn't playing or the Clippers, Paul George and Kawhi don't never play. And he still be having those boys out there playing, executing. So those are two of the guys that I've really looked at.
Nice.
I love Pop for what he does defensively. Pop always has some really good defensive schemes. So, but it's hard, like you said, you made a great point of you don't want to overdo it. And, what can these kids retain? Because sometimes you can retain because sometimes we think of ourselves like, hey, as players, I could get this. Why can't they get it? And you have to take yourself away and say, okay, I can't look at it like that. I got to find what's best for my group. So, I have one of my assistants. I'll be like, hey, tell me if I'm giving them too much. Because I always want to get a new set. Like when we get to that second half of league, I'm like, okay, let me add another set. Or add a counter. This, so they gonna know we running it. So I have them like, hey, Stan, this might be a little too much for him right now. So that's where my assistants come in. But Ty Lue, Brad Stevens, and Pop, those are probably, some really good ones. And then I'll catch stuff from like anybody. Like I'm a basketball junkie, so I'm watching it all the time. I'm watching college, I'm watching high school games. And I feel like I can pick up anything from anyone. Like I was watching BYU early last year, and they run the pistol to where, the dribble handoff comes at the screen, and they just kind of play off of that. And early this year, I didn't feel like our offense was flowing enough. And we have really good shooters, and we have a big man who rolls pretty well, has soft hands, but, we can't throw it to him on the block. So I was like, I got to get something to where it's just guard dominant. And once we switched to that, man, we kind of just took off, and I think we're at 25, 26 in a row right now. And they just took off, man, because and that was just from watching a BYU game and then just kind of doing research after it. So I'll pick up anything from anybody, man. I'm never too old to learn, and I can learn from anybody. I'll learn from a middle school coach. If they got a good set, if they got a good defensive scheme, I'm feeling it.
Yeah, that's what's up. I think you talked about like high school retaining information. How is it hard for you to pull back and not overgive? Like, is it really, because you could probably go. We got something for everything, like y'all. But is it really hard for you to kind of, all right, let me pull back and just work on one or two things, or get these two things done? Or are you like, okay, guys, let's just try to build, because we're still not, the IQ still help you win the game, or IQs, even though kids a lot of that based on athleticism, I get that, or that uptown tempo where the shooting and go get it, but the IQ, it's gonna eventually slow down. Like I seen y'all execute late game. You had to get the one gentleman shot. He was cooking them too, man. He was going to work. That boy was going to work from all over the court. But a couple of times they knew. Coach looked at it, slow it down, clock score, execute. We want either a layup or a foul. You could just tell they was going either full bucket or it's a layup at this point in the game. How hard is it to kind of pull back the reins a little bit and try to, and not over it, like you said, outside the coach, but for you personally, do you naturally want to go like give them all of it at one time, or what?
I naturally do, but I also understand who they are. I understand who my players are, and that you have to coach players different. Everybody's fair. You treat everybody fair, but what might help number 3 on your team, you might be able to yell at him and say, hey, I need you to get here, and he'll respond to that. But you yell at another player and he'll fold. So I know with my group, like it's like less is more. Is more. So for me, I'm giving them, especially when we get crunch time, and it happened in the game on Friday. It got to crunch time, and I said, look, we up. We going to spread the floor. We going to ball screen because they hedging and getting back. So we got to attack that hedge, turn the corner, and just make a play. And that's when it's like, that's what it's like every time down.
That was simple for them.
Yep, that's simple. Like we're going to simplify this because I don't want them overthinking. I just want them to react to what's in front of them.
Gotcha.
So we were able to do that. And I have a good group to where if we do call a timeout, I can draw something up. They'll get it. They're pretty good at that. But when it's crunch time, and I know in that big arena playing for a section champion, I know they nerves. So I'm like, I'm going to make this as simple as possible for them right now. And that's what we tried to do.
That's what's up, man. Getting ready to play tomorrow night. Tip-off time is what?
7.
7 o'clock. Who y'all got?
We got Burlingame, which is from
Burlingame.
out of the Bay Area.
Okay. So right now for NorCal's, it's win two or win three to get back to Golden One.
To be honest with you, I think it's like 4.
Oh,
you got to get 4 to get there.
And you guys are, what seed are you guys right now?
They gave us an 8 seed, which I'm pissed about. Like, ooh. I don't understand how they gave us an 8.
See, I don't even know how all that. Well, obviously, for the last 5-6 years, it started getting real crazy. I don't know how they put people in different, based on wins, losses. You win, but you got to go. Are you guys still in the D4?
Yeah, they kept us in D4, but some D3 teams dropped.
They come see it. I don't understand.
And then some D5 teams moved up, and they lost in their section championship game or in the semifinals, but they like the number 1, 2, 3 seed. They came up from D5.
Lower seed.
So
I don't know.
Yeah, it don't make no sense to me. But I told the guys, I was like, those seeds
gotta play the
matter.
game. Yeah,
we gotta go play
the game. Right.
You guys, play. If y'all pissed about it, go win and show them that they gave y'all the wrong seed.
So are you guys on the road or at home?
We're home. So we're gonna
at least you get the first one at the crib.
Yeah, we get the first one.
It should be Marysville. Everybody in Marysville should be at the game tomorrow night. Y'all
they better
support. Y'all need to go be in that gym. Support the homie. Again, congratulations. Good luck tomorrow night, man. But before we get out of here, man, I always got to ask my guests, as we know, basketball, right? Triple threat, dribble, pass, shoot. But for you as a person, a dad, a coach, what are your 3 things that you would want to give insight to any coach or student, anybody listening, a parent or another coach? Just what's your triple threat though, man? Because again, we've been through life experiences, man. We could write this book so long, but right now, I ask everybody before, at the end of the show, episodes and stuff, interviews, give me your triple threat, man. It could be anything, man. 3 things that you want everybody to kind of know. Oh, that's Coach Stan. Like that's what he's standing on.
Be passionate about what you're doing. That's number 1. Like if you're passionate about what you do, it's going to shine through and people are going to gravitate towards that and they're going to do a lot for you. My kids will run through a wall for me because they know I'm passionate about what I do and I care about them. The second thing would be honest. Just be a good person, because I truly believe in karma. Treat people the way you want to be treated, and that's what I try to do. And probably the last thing is, passionate. What would be my last thing, man? Is never quit, man. Never quit. Just keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going because you're closer to where you're supposed to. You're closer to where you want to go when you think about quitting. You've already made it that far, And I think a lot of people don't check their rearview mirror sometimes and see how far they come. They're like, "Oh, I'm not where I'm supposed to be." Check your rearview sometimes.
Amen to that.
And then you'll be able to say, like, "Ooh, I've come."
I'm not where I was. Yeah. Hey.
Yeah.
Even though I was saying it gets rough for us sometimes. You gotta manage family time, work time, kid time, all these other kids, the program. But also, like I said, those I know the dope feeling to see your alumni, your graduating boys come back and show love to you, man. And then those kids. I seen the post with the mom gave her spiel on Facebook just about showing respect for you, how she stuck with it, her son stuck with you. But to me that no stipend, because again, we don't get paid. That stipend ain't enough. The gas mileage, you put that back in the program, pretty much, right? You know what I mean? Pretty much keep it 100. You're working for free, but it's that paycheck of the deposit of hours we're putting in, but that cashing check when that student graduates, that young man comes back, shows love, respect, the parents show gratitude because you are helping raise or raise their young men, bro. So again, that's definitely a big shout out to you, my dog, and handle the business tomorrow night, man.
Last thing, it's great for those kids that look like me to see someone who looks like them in a position because those words mean a little more. So I always want to be a positive influence for those young men. It's like, hey, you can do whatever you want, and they'll tell me their stories. And I'm like, yes, man, I've been there. I've been there.
Relatable pieces, everything, bro. Hopefully that gets that buy-in, right? We can break down that barrier. Like, no, man, I've been there. I've seen that. I've done that. But look where I am too. It's those choices we make, right? You can choose to do different. It may be rough. It may hurt you for a minute, but you can turn your story around, bro. But that's definitely, man, again, big props, bro. I know you gotta get some rest or watch some more film. Keep it up, man. Handle your business tomorrow night, man. None of them boys gonna be pumped.
Thank you.
And just keep it going, dog. Like I said, I'm definitely gonna tap in tomorrow to the app and watch you do your thing, man. So I appreciate you taking this time out the schedule. Man, all right.
Man, thanks for having me. Man.
All love, man. I rock with you, man. We got years down the line, man. It's been going for a minute, man. Keep it going, bro. Appreciate you.
All right, bro. You have a blessed one.
You too, man. Good luck. Handle business, bro.
Yep.
Peace.